Hey everybody, Brian B here. Are you thinking of buying a house in 2026? Maybe someone you know and love is thinking of buying a house, a family member, a child, in wonder and fear for how the hell are you going to be able to afford these new home prices that we've been seeing in the last 3 or 4 years. The pricing continues to go up and affordability starts to become farther and farther away from the average home buyer. So I'd like to talk to you a little bit about a strategy that I've got a lot of clients using, and I call it equity acceleration. Now, you may have heard it as house hacking. You might have heard it as equity hacking. It comes down to ownership acceleration. So let's tell you what ownership acceleration or house hacking is all about. So really what it means is that you're buying a property and you're turning it into a duplex property. You're going to buy a property that's duplexable. You put an income unit in this property and you use that income to help offset your mortgage costs. And now you're allowed to do it pretty well anywhere now across Ontario. Specifically, we're talking about right here in Ottawa. And you can actually now have up to a third income property within a single family unit. So the zoning has now allowed for that. Now you can have multiple family units within the same single family home, whether it's a townhome or already a semi-detached. You're allowed to up the density of that house. So again, let me give you a live example. So this is a house. It's near the Britannia Beach area. And I'll just move myself out of the way here a little bit so you don't really see me so much, because it's not so much about my face. I showed this to one of my clients and he did not buy it. Someone else got this amazing deal. And if you go to homesearchcanada.ca, you'll be able to research old data. So we're going to use Home Search Canada, my portal, to now look at a house that just sold recently on January the 4th. The asking price on it was $659. It sold at $619. That is an amazing price for what I believe this property is. And someone's got a highly duplexable property. And whether they're going to do this or not, I don't know. But here's a house that lends itself so well and so easily. It doesn't get much easier than this. So let's actually take a look at it and why it's duplexable. So it's a semi-detached property. You notice it has a carport on it. The configuration of this is there's 4 bedrooms on the upper floor. That's a 4-bedroom house, a main house that's been heavily updated. In the basement lower area, there's 1 bedroom now. There's room for a second, and all you need to do is make a few more changes, and this is now a duplexable property. So let's kind of jump through this house really quick. You can see that there's a side entrance on it already. That's one of the key attributes that we look for when we're looking for a duplexable property, because to add a second add a second egress or access point for the basement, in this case a lower unit, can be quite expensive. So having it there already can be huge savings. And we're going to come back to that later, and you'll see why. Got a beautiful backyard. This is a patio that comes off it. Now, this happens to be a walkout basement. So the tenant would have the niceties of having a beautiful above-grade feeling to that lower unit. Not all basements give you that, but this one absolutely did. It's near Britannia Beach, which is fantastic. You can see that the home has likely been staged. Great, good for the realtor that's been doing that. And some nice photos. You can see, though, it's been heavily updated, and for $619, I think they got an amazing deal. Not just with the staging. So you're going to see this. I'm going to jump through this quite quickly. I'm not really showcasing this house. Okay, we're going to go back to this. So you can see here's that side door going down to the basement. And we're going to jump for what I believe is you could close this wall off. That's what I guess I would suggest that you do. We're seeing the upper bedrooms. Here it is. So now we're seeing that side entrance. We're looking from the door open down to the lower basement. And imagine now you could have this could be the dedicated access point for your tenant, or your tenants in this case. This is one of the bedrooms in that lower unit. You can see it's got a closet. It's beautifully appointed. It's ready to go. And this is the living room. And here's that walkout basement that makes it absolutely very achievable. And here's a second unfinished, semi-finished room that's also in the basement that could very easily, with a bit of drywall and a bit of work, be turned into a second bedroom. And it's already got an existing bathroom, tub, and shower. So this is ready to go. So now let's break this down a little bit. So I've got a tool called the Canadian Mortgage App. And I want to talk to you a little bit about what it would cost and how this is going to accelerate your mortgage or accelerate your equity in this particular home. So let's say that you paid that 619. You were that lucky person that was able to buy this, I believe, at 619. You only put 5% down, which you're allowed to do under with CMHC rules. It's a high ratio mortgage. So you put 5% down, and I chose a rate of 3.99. Now, what's beautiful about the Canadian Mortgage app that I have, and I'll be links below to it, is that you get to go and research lots of different mortgages, but 3.99 is absolutely achievable right now. I think you could likely do a little better. So your 5% down gives you a mortgage of $588,000. You're mortgaging $588,000, gives you a monthly mortgage of $2,792. And for most, they can absolutely afford that, but maybe that's just, you can afford to pay it, but it's taking a huge percentage of your, your monthly income. And you want to find a way to impact it, and you use in this case, we're going to use the rents out of that particular unit to offset this. So we're going to go back. Let's take a look. I put together a little paper. So based on that, what I call the accelerated ownership blueprint. So your mortgage is $2,793 a month. And this is in the Britannia Beach area of Ottawa. And I can tell you all day long, you can find a 2-bedroom apartment of this attribute. You're going to pay likely over $2,000. It's going to be more like $2,200, maybe even $2,300, and certainly above, depending on how nice it is. But for this particular property, I'm just using a conservative number of $1,900. So it's $2,793 less the rental income of $1,900 gives you a monthly cost of only $893 a month. Now, who the heck could not afford that? That is absolutely mortgage hacking, because I believe when you're buying a house these days, you're really buying, are you really buying a house, or are you buying the ability to pay for a house over 30 plus years? You're going to pay for that house more than double. So imagine now that let's take this a step farther. So that lowers your cost. I'm absolutely certain, if you wanted to, that you could afford a 4-bedroom house for $893 a month. Yeah, maybe so. I hope that you could. But let's take this a step farther. Let's just say that, you know what? We're doing really well right now. We're banking lots of money. We can absolutely afford that $2,793, but we're really prudent. So we're going to take that extra $1,900 and we want to put that directly on the mortgage. So let's go back to my mortgage app. And this has a cool feature on here, and I have to put my glasses on for this. Let's look at it. It's called extra payments. So we're going to go extra payments, and we're going to increase the payments. Not increase, but we're going to add another payment of $1,900. And we're going to go boom, and we're going to apply. So what does that do to our mortgage over 30 years? In fact, what it does, it decimates that 30-year amortization. It brings it down to 13 years and 6 months. Absolutely decimates it and saves you hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest payments. Because what happens is that extra payments go directly against the balance. So directly against the principal of your mortgage. That's absolute mortgage hacking and mortgage acceleration when you can make these extra payments. Now, for the average Joe, yes, they can make a few extra payments a year. We have all done it. But I'm talking about making almost a $2,000 extra payment on your mortgage each and every month. Or maybe you can't afford to put all that on, but you can say, you know what? We can afford to pay $1,400 or $1,500 a month directly personally on the mortgage. And we're going to, instead of using the $800 savings, we're going to take a portion of that income and put it on. So maybe you cut that down by half. Every $1,000 payment that you put on your mortgage, it will go directly against the principal, and you're going to decimate that mortgage. So no matter what you do, you're going to absolutely cut your mortgage back. And I can tell you that a big part of my business is helping my clients do exactly this and directly accelerate their ownership and accelerate their equity in their home. So if you're thinking again of buying a house in 2026, you might want to consider the strategy of hacking your mortgage and under this, equity acceleration plan. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Hopefully you get something out of this. You're going to find links below to not only Home Search Canada, and you can look for yourself in terms of I can help you find and show you how you can find what I call duplex homes or multi-tenant homes, as well as you can download my Canadian mortgage app. So I'll talk to you guys soon. I hope you learned something from this. If you want to DM me or reach out, my number's right here, and we can talk about this on another time. Talk soon, everybody.